Today we're going to be reviewing a couple tools to help you with your jewelry.
I'm Charles with Bodyartforms.
And I'm Rebecca with Bodyartforms.
We probably should make a note that we don't actually carry any of these tools. We're trying out different stuff. We might carry these in the future if they work really well, but we'll have to see how that goes with the testing.
So we have the silicone pads and the silicone finger nibs. So the hope of these things is if you can't quite get a grip on the ball ends of your jewelry, that these could potentially help you. These larger silicone pads are basically the same ones that you can find for your kitchen for helping to open up jars. And so we're just gonna test them and see if they're actually helpful or not. So I'm just using this silicone pad to try and get a better grip on the ball end of this curved barbell. It is really good for getting a grip. The only issue that I'm seeing is that these are rather large. And so especially if you're having to like fiddle with something in your ear or your face, this is gonna be kind of big.
All right, so I've cut a smaller strip of this silicone to see if, making it a little bit smaller helps. I do think that like if this was in my nose, my biggest issue would be trying to fit this in there. I would also say like, it works, but right off the bat, I think I'm actually getting better grip with just the gloves.
Yeah.
They're just really grippy. So this is gripping really well on this. Grab you some nitrile gloves, give that a shot.
These are especially nice because they have like a textured fingertip.
Yeah, that's working really well.
Mm-hmm. So if you don't want to do the full glove, there are also these just little finger covers. You can easily pick these up. They make them specifically for restaurant workers in case you get a cut while working in the kitchen. And they just roll on like that.
Okay, yeah, this works as well as the gloves do, actually. So it's a convenient way to get in there. But this is actually working really well for grip. The most convenient thing is probably because you can feel it through your fingertips, so I can actually feel when I've got a hold of that. The silicone pads are a little bit thick, so you can't quite feel through there.
I definitely lean towards the either just gloves or the little fingertips. I think you have a lot more movement. They don't get in the way as much as the rather thick silicone pads. I think the best use for the silicone pads is that they add a little protection to your fingers if you have to grip something really, really hard for a second.
I for sure would use gloves or these guys. And you can Google them. They're called finger cots, C-O-T-S, apparently. Finger condoms will also bring it up.
So this one, it's just a pair of tweezers, but it's got some rubber tips on the end, which should help with getting a grip on a ball. And I am able to tighten it. My main issue with these though is that I can't tell how tight I am getting or how good of a grip that I have on the ball, but I think they work pretty well.
I have this set of forked tweezers that are obviously designed for holding on to one end of a labret. They could also be used for a ball, I guess. All right, so I have grabbed the back end of this labret through the forked tongs, and it's actually got a pretty good grip on there, so if you're one of those people who has a threadless labret in your nostril or ear, this would be a good way to get a hold of that back end, so you're not putting as much pressure on the piercing when you're pulling that end out. And this is actually a pretty tight end that I have in there, so it's got a good grip on it, and that actually does hold it pretty good. And trying it with a ball doesn't quite grip the right way that you would think it would. It's got little grippies on it, but it does unscrew the ball, but it's not holding very well, and I'm worried that this might scratch the jewelry. If you had something nice here, that might put some bad scratches on it, so it's probably not worth it to do it for that. And it also doesn't work as well as the gloves, so there'd be no reason to do it unless you absolutely had to.
Okay, and these ones are a pair of forceps. So there's a hole down the middle. If I open it up, it's easier to see. It's got kind of a cylinder carved out in the middle, which I'm assuming would be to grip an end. So I'm trying it first with a cone end, because cone ends is what I struggle with the most. So I'm just seeing if I can get a grip on there. It seems like I'm more twisting the jewelry than the end to get it off, but it does work, I guess. So this one is a ball end, slightly bigger, which looks like it will fit right in there. And I've just got it clipped, and now I'm just twisting it. So this one is nice for getting the balls off. This one has less of a silicone or sticky, I guess, grip on the ball. It's more of a pressure keeping it on there. And then just for the fun of it, I also tried it out with a labret just to see if it would hold it. And it does hold it, but it doesn't it's not very secure, as you can see. Trying to hold the post of something, I would go with the one that Charles had, these ones. Better for gripping. But as for ends and balls, getting them off, you would be able to do it with these. Getting them on, it's not the way to go.
So what we have here is that it looks incredibly like your average clicker pin. However, when you click it down, these little grabby claws come out. The idea is that these little grabby claws could potentially help pick up ball ends or something like that.
Another use for them would be putting ball ends on or off. They just kind of go around the ball like that. So we're gonna get it on the end and twist it. Doesn't look like I'm making, oh, actually. There we go. Took a little bit, but we were able to get that ball off and it kept the post still in the same spot. So I'm gonna try to put that on real quick. Well, I got that on. Doesn't have a very good grip though.
So one thing that we immediately noticed upon checking these out is that these little metal posts are quite sharp. It is not finished metal, it's just metal that's been cut, so it hasn't been sanded down or rounded or anything like that. And we noticed that felt very, very sharp. Unfortunately, it looks like those little sharp ends have scratched up the metal plating on this piece. I feel like these could certainly be better if they had maybe like a silicone coating on these little grippers. Like,
or like even just a stopper on the end.
Yeah, not only would that help grip the jewelry better, but it would also protect it from being scratched by these. Yeah, these are quite sharp. I like the concept. I think it is a good concept.
In theory, it works.
Yes.
It does work. It will just damage your jewelry.
In practice, there are issues, yeah.
Yeah.
So, not my recommended choice. So these are all the tools that we have reviewed in the past 3 videos. Out of all of them, personally, I would much rather stick with gloves or the little finger cots.
And if you don't have gloves or the finger cots, my best bet would say going for the tweezers with the rubber ends, since that will give you the best grip.